You graduated. You did everything you were supposed to do, and somehow, you're still jobless. It's been months or years. You've sent your CV everywhere. You've interviewed, waited, been ghosted, smiled through it, and now you're just tired of the same rejection, of people asking any updates, of pretending like it doesn't bother you. You can't help your parents. You can't move forward with marriage. You can't even plan your life past next month. You feel stuck, embarrassed, and if you're honest, you don't even know what to feel toward Allah anymore. Hope, guilt, frustration, because deep down, you're wondering, why does it feel like everyone else is moving forward, except me? You don't say it out loud anymore, but the thought comes almost every week. I'm behind. Behind your friends. Behind the timeline you pictured. Behind the version of you that was supposed to have made it by now. Your old classmates are posting job updates, engagement announcements, moving cities, buying things. You're refreshing your inbox. Still calculating rent in your head while pretending you're not stressed. Still brushing off questions like, "So what are you doing these days?" with a tight smile. And you start to carry this quiet shame, like maybe you missed something. Maybe Allah gave other people the green light and left you stuck at red. But here's the part no one tells you. Not all delays mean rejection. Sometimes the delay is the protection. The pause is the mercy. Because what if Allah paused your career to save your faith? What if He held back that income to block a lifestyle that would have ruined your hereafter? What if that opportunity you cried over losing was never yours to carry? The Prophet ﷺ once said, "A man is deprived of provision because of the sin that he commits. Nothing increases one's lifespan except righteousness, and nothing repels divine decree except dua, supplication. And indeed, a person may be deprived of provision because of a sin they commit." And sometimes, it's not even about sin. Sometimes, Allah is redirecting you before you build your life on the wrong thing. But you won't see that in your inbox. You won't see it on your resume. You'll only see it later, when you realize the very moment you thought Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was ignoring you was the exact moment He was shielding you. That job offer didn't fall through. It was removed, and the truth is, you're not behind. You're not forgotten. You're being repositioned for something that doesn't need a CV, just the right timing. And until that arrives, your job isn't to chase. It's to not let the pause turn into poison. There's this sinking feeling that creeps in after enough rejection. You stop seeing jobs as opportunities and start seeing them as proof that you matter. You check your email 12 times a day, not because you're desperate for work, but because you need a reason to feel valid today. Because when people ask, "So what do?" you hate the way your throat tightens. When your parents talk about your cousin getting promoted, you laugh along, but something inside you folds. You start tying your self-respect to your income. You start measuring your masculinity, your femininity, your adulthood in paychecks and titles. And no one ever told you that this mindset, it doesn't just wear you down, it rewires you. Now you only feel confident when you have good news. You only feel valuable when you're needed. You only feel close to Allah when things are going well, and you can't help but wonder, who even am I if I'm not producing anything right now? What am I worth if I can't provide, can't move forward, can't even explain what I'm doing with my life? This is what happens when the dunya system becomes your mirror, when the absence of a job starts to feel like the absence of value. But that's not what your Lord sees when He looks at you. Allah never said, "You are what you earn." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of Allah is the one with the most taqwa." Not the best degree, not the highest offer letter, not the cleanest LinkedIn profile. Taqwa, your consciousness of Him, when no one else sees what you're struggling with. So if you're jobless right now, you're not worthless. If you're living quiet, invisible, and behind everyone else, that doesn't make you less. It makes you hidden, and sometimes Allah hides those He loves, so the world doesn't crush them before they're ready. You were taught to chase it, the job, the salary, the status, the success. Even when we say rizq is from Allah, deep down, we still move like it's earned, not delivered. So we grind, we network, we hustle, we stress, we panic when things go quiet, and we forget something the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam made so clear. If you were to rely upon Allah with true reliance, He would provide for you like He provides for the birds. They go out in the morning hungry and return full. The birds don't overthink the wind. They don't beg the sky to rain. They just fly, knowing Allah will feed them somewhere along the way. But we try to control every drop. We think rizq is just income, that it comes from the job, that the employer holds the pen, that the spreadsheet determines our future. But real rizq is so much bigger. Rizq is the offer you didn't get that saved your soul. Rizq is the heartbreak that softened your heart. Rizq is the roof over your head tonight, when someone else is praying just for shelter. Rizq is your mother's dua, your heartbeat, your next breath. The exact pain you're in right now, that's keeping you close to Allah. And the scary thing is, chasing it too hard can actually block it. There's a reason the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "No soul will die until it has received all of its provision, even if it comes late." So fear Allah and seek it beautifully, not anxiously, not with desperation, beautifully. And that means, when a door closes, you don't bang on it in rage. You don't spiral into self-hate. You don't beg people. You pause, you breathe, you ask the one who wrote the rizq before you were even born. Ya Allah, whatever you've written for me, let it reach me in a way that keeps me near you. That's how rizq works. It doesn't rush, it arrives. You keep telling yourself, once I get that job, things will settle. You'll feel stable. You'll fix everything. You'll finally have something to show for yourself. But let's be honest. Even when you had work, you still didn't feel safe. Still anxious about the future. Still comparing salaries. Still unsure what would happen if one thing went wrong. Because what you were really chasing wasn't the job. It was the illusion of control. That maybe if you got enough money or the right title or a bit of savings, you could finally stop feeling powerless. But the truth? That feeling never stays, because jobs come and go, opportunities rise and fall, money lands, and then slips through your fingers like sand. You weren't made to feel secure through dunya. You were made to feel secure through the one who never loses anything. Allah calls Himself Ar-Razzaq, the constant provider, not the employer, not the market, not your degree. So maybe the reason you keep losing jobs, losing offers, losing confidence is because Allah is gently breaking the false rope you've been holding on to, not to punish you, but to lead you back to the rope that never breaks. That's the difference between people who collapse after a job loss and those who find peace even while waiting. It's not about the money, it's about who you believe sends it. So the next time the offer doesn't come, or the perfect job falls through at the last second, don't say, "I lost it." Say, "That wasn't what was written to sustain me." Because the job was never the source. Allah always was. You've been sprinting. Job boards, referrals, cold emails, anxiety-filled interviews. scrolling LinkedIn like it's part of your daily ibadah. And every time something doesn't work, you think, I need to do more, I need to fix this. But here's the thing. Doing more isn't always the problem. Trusting less while doing it is. Tawakkul doesn't mean sitting at home hoping a job falls from the sky. But it also doesn't mean begging creation while ignoring the Creator. The Prophet ﷺ once told a man, tie your camel and trust in Allah. Not tie it and panic. Not tie it and refresh your inbox 47 times. Just tie it, do your part, and then release the outcome. That's tawakkul. But we don't release. We cling. We cling to job titles, hiring managers, the timing we think is best. We ask Allah for help, but only if He delivers it through this company, this role, this month. And when it doesn't happen, we spiral. But what if the very test right now isn't joblessness? It's your ability to let go of control. What if Allah is saying, do your part, but stop believing your risk comes from your grind? It comes from me. And yes, you still apply. You still take interviews. You still learn, grow, push. But you don't chase it like it's your God. You don't tie your dignity to it. And you don't act like Allah only loves you when you're productive. Because the Prophet ﷺ had years where no doors opened, where he was rejected, ridiculed, frozen out by his own people. But never once did he stop walking, and never once did he panic. That's sunnah. Not constant hustle, not burnout disguised as sabr, just doing what you can and trusting Allah with the rest. You thought you were just waiting for the right offer, the right timing, the right door to finally open. But what if this waiting wasn't a pause? It was a redirection, because sometimes Allah doesn't delay your risk to punish you. He delays it to protect you, to realign you, to make sure when that door does open, you walk through it with the kind of heart that can actually handle what's inside. We think a delay means we're behind. But in Allah's world, delay is never wasted. It's precise, it's measured, it's personal. You're not behind, you're not forgotten. You're being positioned exactly where you need to be, for what you've been asking for all along. And yes, it hurts, it's humiliating, it breaks your ego and rattles your identity. But maybe that's the point, because when all the jobs disappear, when all the metrics fall apart, when you've got nothing left to prove yourself with, you finally remember your worth isn't something you apply for. Your provision isn't something you chase. It was already written 50,000 years before you were born, and no company, no delay, no silence can erase what's been written for you by the one who knows you better than you know yourself. So stop letting rejection define your direction. Stop acting like Allah only sees you when you're hired. You're seen now, you're held now, you're being moved, even if it feels like you're standing still. Just keep walking, keep doing your part, keep tying your camel, and let Allah send your risk in His way, not yours. Because when it finally arrives, you'll realize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never forgot you, not for 1 second. And if this video found you in the middle of that silent struggle, just drop a quiet, Ya Allah, guide my risk to me in the comments. You never know. Your dua might be the reason someone else gets through the next hour. Like the video if you felt even one word was written for you. And subscribe if you want more content that speaks to where you really are. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.